Call everyone, thank you for coming to our regular legislative session for Wednesday, November 10th. We're going to start first with a public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Notice of public hearing. Please take notice that the Oswego County Legislature shall hold a public hearing on proposed County of Oswego Local Law Number 2 of 2021, entitled "The Local Law Establishing the Office of the Oswego County Public Defender," on the 10th day of November 2021 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon of said day at the Oswego County Legislative Chambers, County Office Building, 46 East Bridge Street, Oswego, New York, 13126. By order of the Oswego County Legislature, dated October 14, 2021, Betsy Sherman Saunders, Clerk. Any persons wishing to be heard on proposed local law number 2 of 2021, please step forward and state your name. There being no persons wishing to be heard regarding proposed local law, Mr. Chairman, I request to declare the public hearing closed at 2:05.
Thank you. Now closed. We'll now open our regular legislative session with a roll call from the clerk, Betsy.
Michael Yurden.
Present.
Herbert Yurden has been marked excused. Edward Gilson.
Here.
David Holst.
Here.
Roy Greenhill.
Here.
John Martino.
Here.
Bradley Fidel.
Here.
Paul House.
Here.
James Weatherup.
Here.
Mary Ellen Chesbrough.
Here.
Linda Lockwood. Here. Richard Klein has been marked excused. Patrick Swiss.
Here.
Stephen Walpool.
Here.
Nathan Emmons.
Here.
Thomas Drum.
Here.
Lauren Nagano. Here. Robert Wilmot.
Here.
Marie Shaw.
Here.
Tim Stahl.
Here.
Terry Wilbur.
Here.
James Carasset.
Here.
Laura Cervello.
Here.
Mark Greco.
Here.
Ralph Stacy Jr.
Here.
That's 23 present and 2 excused. Mr. Chairman, you have it on the floor.
Thank you. Now, legislator for the 25th District, Ralph Stacy Jr., would please lead us in the invocation.
Heavenly Creator, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered together in the people's chambers. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand, and we ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work in the spirit of joy, enthusiasm, and proper direction. Give us a desire to find ways to excel in our duties and the wisdom to ultimately guide our county into the greatness that our fellow citizens deserve. Amen.
And now the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I trust someone has read the minutes from the Oswego County Legislature's regular meeting of October 14th. Motion. Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Earlier today, we had some proclamations just before the meeting for the National Runaway Prevention Month. Oswego County Soil and Water celebrated 75th anniversary, and quite proud of this, Operation Greenlight for active military members. We also recognize a retiree who tried to talk out of it, named Melanie Thompson from probation. And Scott Morey has probably left the room, but he, to his credit, has stuck with us for 30 years. That's quite a feat. Thank you. Introduction to visitors. There are none. Public speakers on resolutions of the day. Legislator Wilmer.
There are none.
Thank you. Moving on. Reports of county officials. Reports of standing committees. Reports of special committees. Thank you. Moving on to resolutions. Legislator Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Make a motion to pass the following in the block by general consent. GC 1, 3, 4, and 5. PS 1 through 2. HS 1 through 9. EP 1, AG 1, and IT 1 through 6.
Thank you. Second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Moving on then to Resolution GC2 by legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution, urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution awarding professional services contract RFP 21 CKLEG-001 videotaping Oswego County Legislature meetings.
And this will have to be amended, the way it is in your pamphlet, the correct reading, but it would change just to reflect from our committee.
Thank you. So first, we have a second on the amendment?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the amendment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Back to the original. Okay, any discussion? Oh, wait. Yes, Mr. Holmes.
Back to the original amendment, the videotaping of the Oswego County meeting, the county video service, PO Box 5142, Oswego, New York, costs us $220 per meeting, no extra charge for over 2 hours of tape time, $5 per DVD copy for the county, and $5 DVD copy for the general public.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 23 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 excused.
Thank you. Moving now to Public Safety Committee, legislator Wilbur.
PS3, Mr. Chairman, I'll offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification E911 overtime.
So this is moving money from salary and wages to overtime payments. We have some current vacancies, and this is just making up the difference for those vacancies through some overtime payments.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 23 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 excused.
Thank you. Resolution PS4 by legislator Wilbur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution establishing capital project number 0621, correctional facilities control system.
So our existing security control system is outdated and is desperate need of updating. This is pretty much original to the jail with some minor updates since it's been in place. We are definitely in need of replacing this. We have our IT department along with the sheriff's department. My hat's off to them. They have tried to do a cop job, if you will, to keep this going as long as they can. And we're at the point now that if it breaks down, it's going to cost us a significant amount of money in the terms of overtime, because then we would have to have correction officers opening doors with keys by hand. And this does present a serious safety concern if we get to that point.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Drummond.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I support the new system. I guess what I'm curious about, not serving on the committee, is possible ways we can fund this. So I guess question for the county administrator. We spent all our tobacco funds, right? So they can't be funded out of that. This project was not eligible for any ARPA funds either.
You probably could use part of the 5.2 million available to us for government services to fund this. You can also use our fund balance. In talking it over, it seemed more appropriate, since this isn't a direct service to the public, but it's an internal system that maintains the jail, which I guess you can consider that a safety service. But there are better use of that 5.2 million towards regular government services that the citizens would provide. So we have the money in fund balance. We thought we'd take it from there instead.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 23 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 excused.
Thank you. Resolution PS5 by legislator Wilbur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution creating 1 new temporary position in the E91 department.
As a result of a individual who's on leave, for a temporary leave of employee. We are in need of having a supervisor placed on that shift, so I urge this adoption so that we will have a supervisor for that shift.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 23 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 excused.
Thank you. Human Services is under consent, as well as Economic Development, Planning, and Health, and Infrastructure. So, Legislator Will.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to waive the rules for consideration of GC 6, FP1, and FP2.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 23 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 excused.
Thank you. Resolution GC6 by Legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution for its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
A resolution approving and confirming tax auction bids and authorizing execution of deeds.
Okay, our district enjoys the right of sale under the RPTL section 1166. Covered by tax auction. It was originally held on October 2021. All parcels that were not otherwise repurchased from the county and properties were sold at the auction for the highest selling bidder.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 23 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 excused.
Thank you. Resolution FP1 by Legislator Martino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution fixing time and place for public hearing on the tentative county budget for the year 2022.
Pretty self-explanatory, sets the date and time for our public hearings for the county budget.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 23 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 excused.
Thank you. Resolution FP2 by Legislator Martino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
A resolution fixing time and place for public hearing relative to proposed County of Oswego Local Law Number 3 of the year 2021 entitled A Local Law Providing for the Salaries of Certain Elected County Officers in the County of Oswego.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is, again, public hearing on setting salaries of the county elected officials, treasurer, county clerk, and sheriff.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Crowell.
We might want to tell the public when the public hearings are.
That would be a key point. Do we have a date for the public hearing and the time?
Yes,
It's 2 o'clock December.
it's 2 o'clock,
2 o'clock December 9th.
December 9th at 2 o'clock.
Yes, thank you. That's probably my bad for not doing that. Legislator Will.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be abstaining from this vote.
Thank you. Any other abstentions? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, that's 24 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 abstention.
Thank you. Moving now to unfinished business. Any miscellaneous business? Thank you. Looking for the appropriate,
Mr. Chairman, under miscellaneous business, I'd like to, this body has always had a relationship with our members of the press. I'd like to note that this is Mr. Ritz's last meeting he will be reporting on. He's been reporting on it for the last 6 years, so congratulations on the future for you, and thank you for the reporting efforts here.
thank you.
And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Adjourned. Now, moving to public comment period. Legislator Wilker.
You're leaving and you finally learned how to comment.
Okay, public comments. First, we have, is it Wendy Tron? Yes, you want to come forward and speak? How about you come right up front here to this podium? In the interest of fairness, we limit everyone to 5 minutes. And I'll give you a little heads up when we get close.
Okay. Hi, I'm Wendy Crouch. I'm a cleaner for Oswego County. The point I'm trying to make today is the fact that I've been a cleaner for the county for over 9 years now, and I make $13.82 an hour. I live alone. I pay my own bills. I could not afford to pay a house payment or a car payment at this point because of my lack of pay. And I'm just hoping that somebody will take into consideration to bring us up to at least minimum wage so we can actually pay our bills. And also, I think it's pretty pitiful that I work full-time for this county and I still qualify for benefits and social services. Something's wrong when you work full-time for a county and still rely on their services. And the fact that caseworkers in other counties ask people to come to Oswego County because we give out more benefits than any county in New York State. I've cleaned at social services for 4 years. I overheard the conversations and I know this to be true. I just want it to be known that we would like to actually be paid for our services to where we can actually make ends meet and not have to rely on the taxpayers to pay the rest of our bills so we can make ends meet. Thank you.
Next, Elaine Shabin. Ms. Upward. Way up the podium, you have 5 minutes.
I'm just under 4 minutes, I believe.
Okay.
I'm very short, sorry. Good afternoon. My name is Elaine Shabin. I'm a family nurse practitioner, and I appreciate this opportunity to speak to you today. Last month, you adopted a resolution to oppose OSHA's emergency temporary standard regarding COVID-19 vaccine mandates without giving notification or allowing the opportunity for input from your own health department or any other health professionals. In response to that, healthcare professionals throughout the county have endorsed a statement that I'd like to read for you now, and I do have copies of it and signatures if you'd like it later. As healthcare providers practicing in Oswego County, we found your recent vote to promote politics at the expense of the health and safety of the community to be completely irresponsible. Passing a resolution to oppose vaccine mandates imposed by higher authorities is detrimental to our efforts to bring this pandemic under control. Furthermore, undermining the work that dedicated healthcare professionals are doing every day at the risk of their own personal safety to control a vaccine-preventable illness destabilizes our efforts and fuels mistrust. As leaders of this community, we expected support from you. Putting politics ahead of the health and well-being of your constituents is counterproductive to the strides we have already made in reducing illness, hospitalizations, and death in a community that has demonstrated higher rates of infection statewide. It is our hope moving forward that you will support the efforts of professionals in protecting and caring for our community. That's the end of the prepared statement. There is a great deal of misinformation out there on social media, and some of it in your resolution. This resolution is about vaccine mandates, but it fails to adequately recognize that the OSHA emergency temporary standard does not require vaccination. It allows an alternative of weekly testing and masking. Many of you spoke about individual choices, personal liberties, mandates violating the Constitution, standing up for freedoms. People are not being forced to accept vaccinations against their will, as stated in your resolution. An alternative choice is available. The Supreme Court has ruled on vaccination mandates many times and has ruled that the public good supersedes personal liberties when it comes to health and welfare, and, quote, it is within the police power of a state to enact a compulsory vaccination law, unquote. This finding has been reaffirmed on multiple occasions by the Supreme Court. By the way of the first vaccine mandate ever, just by the way, it was by George Washington in 1777 when he mandated the Continental Army to be inoculated against smallpox, which eventually led to the victory in the Revolutionary War and the elimination of smallpox. During a time of public health crisis, you chose to put political gain above the health and safety of your constituents. Adopting this resolution had absolutely no effect on implementation of vaccine mandates. What it does have an effect on is the medical community. It makes our jobs to secure the health and safety of the people of Oswego County much more difficult. The message we want to convey is that we need your support and we need to work together to bring an end to this pandemic. We need to tell the truth about vaccinations and not spread or encourage misinformation. Sometimes you just need to do the right thing. Nobody likes to be told what to do. My daughter, her favorite phrase is, "Don't tell me what to do," to this day. But sometimes you just have to do the right thing. And the right thing is to get mandated, is to get vaccinated. Leave the noise behind. Get vaccinated for yourself, your family, your community. The vaccine is safe, it's effective, it's free, and it's readily available. And I thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you. Next, Diane Plumidor.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you. I've been a family nurse practitioner for 41 years and a psych nurse practitioner for 21 years. And I have held the following principles. One, people have the right to make an informed choice about their health care. Two, we all need to work together for the health and safety of our community. And three, I have trusted the CDC. They are the experts in public health and safety. Before COVID, in my 41 years, I saw legislators willing to question health care policies set forth by the CDC. The CDC makes mistakes, but usually when they change recommendations, it is because new scientific information has been added to the body of knowledge. This is especially so with new illnesses. COVID, being novel, has caused many changes in the CDC recommendations, which has unfortunately added to confusion and mistrust. But it really means that they're doing their job and keeping up with new information. This is important because of all the misinformation that is everywhere. Social media, people reporting what someone else said, it all becomes a big jumble of confusing, scary, and inaccurate information. We all need to do all we can to support clear factual information to help all of us feel more safe and be more safe. And for me, I rely on the CDC and my healthcare colleagues. As a psychiatric nurse practitioner, as a family member, friend, neighbor, I have seen an increase in anxiety and depression. I think we all feel less safe than we did 2 years ago. The community needs and deserves consistent, factual information to combat the mistrust and confusion that is all around. I believe everyone should make their own decisions about their health care, but it's when an individual's health care decision can affect those around him or her that it then becomes the concern of everyone or public health. That intersection of individual to community health is where we need to look to our agencies, whose purpose is community health and safety. The CDC recommendations and OSHA in the Labor Department puts these recommendations into regulation for the workplace. No one is mandating a vaccine. only mandating vaccine or testing and masking if you're going to be in the workforce in order to protect your co-workers. Mandating vaccines is nothing new for employment. This has been in healthcare and schools and many other places for decades. As a nurse, I have been mandated to have polio, measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, and others. The only different thing is the misinformation, the confusion, and the mistrust. So in regard to this resolution, on first read, it sounds good. I like words like rights and freedoms. We all believe in them. The biggest flaw, though, is that it misses the whole point. Individual and freedom is for the individual, but this is not about the individual. It is about what is best for the health and safety of all of us, your neighbors, your friends, and your co-workers. It's about how we all work together and use the tools of vaccine and public health policy to beat this pandemic. This resolution adds confusion and seeds more distrust in our agencies and makes the job of helping people stay healthy harder for me and my colleagues. Again, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Next, Bob Erklin?
Ireland.
Ireland. I should have known.
I'm not Irish, though. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you can tell by my face mask, I'm a member of the CSEA union, but that's also a team. And I'm going to take it off. I wear this not for myself. I'm fully vaccinated, but I wear this for the families that I work with. Many of them don't get vaccinated, and I don't want to share this COVID virus with, anybody. But I've been an active member of this community for over 50 years. I've been involved in the Boy Scouts, I've been involved with my school board, involved with my church, and other community activities. Currently, I am a preventive caseworker for the Oswego County Department of Social Services. At first, I was hoping to be able to give you a 5-minute glimpse of what it's like to be a preventive caseworker. There was just no way I could fit it in 5 minutes. I don't know if I could fit it in a half hour, to be honest. But as such, as I mentioned before, I work as a team. And a lot of my fellow CSEA members are my teammates. I help families try to get reunited with their children, or to help them try to prevent further neglect or abuse to their children. That's a big thing for me is children. But I work with probation. I work with public assistance caseworkers. I work with child support caseworkers. And one of my biggest challenges is, again, I want to be a team. And if your team is not strong and is not consistent, it's hard to be successful. A lot of our team members end up leaving because they're just not able to make a livable wage. And that makes it extremely challenging for everybody. Even for myself, I'm what's considered a higher level in the payroll system. But as such, I still have difficulties making ends meet. I actually work 2 jobs to try to make ends meet. I'm fortunate to have a wife that works, and still it's challenging. So I just encourage you to think about what we as human service workers deal with each day, and the challenges that we face, and yet not have an income that's going to meet the needs of ourselves and our community. So I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for listening to me. I know you all got an email from me probably last week, and hopefully you read that and also see another side of the emotional challenges that we face as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next, Casey Fleming. This is the one that been crying. They want 5 minutes with them.
More than that. Hi, good afternoon. Last week I was an employee of the Oswego County Health Department, and this week I am part of what is being called the Great Resignation of people who are leaving their jobs because they're not willing to accept the certain work conditions that we're put in. I accepted this job 3 weeks before this little guy was born at the health department, and then I was able to stay home with him for 6 weeks before I had to return in the midst of a pandemic. I returned, I was working in the phone bank, I was calling positives and checking in on them to see how they were doing. I was helping with contact tracing. I was working sometimes 6-7 days a week. And at that time I hadn't let anybody in my house because we were told that you shouldn't. So I had no grandparents coming over, nobody to help me with my son. My partner had to stay home to watch him because I had no real maternity leave. I was only given $700 of disability for my whole entire time that I was home. I remember being in the call bank, working and calling positives when I saw that you guys had passed the budget, giving yourself an increase in pay. I remember talking to a girl who was crying because she had been isolated and was struggling with her mental health. And then I read that and it felt like such a kick in the gut. It didn't seem like you supported us at all. We got emails every week saying that the legislators want you to know that we have your back. We support you. Where was it? Our COVID vaccine clinics were run. We tried to get volunteers. I saw very few of you there helping with these vaccines. I was volunteering on my Saturdays and Sundays while that little girl who she's holding out there, I was 7 months pregnant with her, going to help do vaccines, walking up and down to help get shots in arms. Now, I come from a family, my grandmother retired from Oswego County, my mother retired from Oswego County after 35 years of service. My aunt is employed with Oswego County, my cousins are employed with Oswego County. I've lived in Oswego County my whole life, and I'm disappointed. Young people are leaving. I mean, despite the gray hair, I'm only 29. But young people are leaving. They're not staying here. Part of it is because there's not jobs that support us. We get 12 weeks, up to 12 weeks maternity leave. So after I had my daughter, I get 12 weeks, and once again, just that $700 paycheck from the disability, the private disability we have. I breastfeed, and she wouldn't take a bottle. So I stayed home on unpaid leave for a couple more months to try to work on that. Once again, I was not paid for that time. I had to use all of my sick leave to stay home longer, which means I would return to work with absolutely no sick days, no paid time off days. I need to attend their appointments. If they're sick, it wouldn't be an option. You guys have not created a contract that encourages young people to come and work for Oswego County. You will deplete your own workforce. I really hope that you take what everybody's saying to you and come to the table for these people and give them the contract that they deserve. You represent us, and I'm asking you to do better. That's all.
Thank you. Angelina Lucian.
Hello, my name is Angelina Luchanan, and I'm a preventive caseworker at DSS. This isn't the first time that you've heard from me or a lot of my fellow DSS family, and I know that it won't be the last. You have heard us pleading our cases to you, trying to get you to stand in our shoes to understand where we're coming from. I wrote a letter and emailed it to all 25 of you. I received a response from 3, and out of those 3, only 1 was a response directly towards the topics that I had brought up. The other 2 were blanket responses. So I'm here today so that I know that you've heard me. And let me be clear that I understand that DSS is a costly social service to uphold, and a lot of money is expensed daily for the services. However, the cost to keep the department and its services afloat do not benefit the workers, nor should it impact the fact that we need wage increases, among other changes. That needs to be kept separate, as we do not profit from helping families with the services they need. I work with families all day long that need our help, our services, and someone to listen. Families of all backgrounds, demographics, and ages. Children, the main population that we fight for day in and day out. I work with children all day, and when it's time to punch out, I go home to my husband and 2 dogs. We would love to have children of our own running around the house, playing with our dogs. However, working for Oswego County makes that reality a bit harder to achieve. Without any paid maternity leave, we are forced to come up with a financial game plan of how to make it work. So let's see how we can do that. I accrue a whole 10 days off a year. You heard that right, 10 days a year. It would take me 3 years of taking absolutely no time off work just to accrue a measly 6 weeks of paid maternity leave. Does that honestly sound doable to you? To work 3 years with no time off? Because it doesn't to me. Also, it's not even allowed to carry over that much time, but let's just say that it is for hypothetical reasons. And let's say I do work that 3 years and take the 6 weeks off. I then have to go back to work when my body isn't ready, and then what time do I use for all the follow-up doctor appointments and other essential things that pop up? Just take time without pay, I guess, because that's my only option. Paid maternity leave is not a perk, it's a necessity. Please hear me when I say that. Paid maternity leave is not a perk, it's a necessity. The global average for paid leave is 29 weeks. 29 weeks. This country is failing us, and so is this county, and we need to do better. We spend all day serving this county and its families while letting down our own. We either work for 3 years with no time off to accrue a sad 6 weeks, or we stay home without pay. What kind of options are those? I know people just figure it out and make it work, but what kind of message is that sending the younger population, who is the future of our county? You already know the turnover rate is astronomical here. This isn't helping. Not paying us equivalent to our surrounding counties isn't helping. The painfully slow accrual rate of time off and sick time is not helping. It's a vicious cycle that's hurting not only the workers of DSS, but Oswego County as a whole. We work for this county and its people, and so do you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the only people who had signed up. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? If not, thank you. One more. You have 5 minutes. Your name?
Lindsay Hart. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lindsay Hart. I've been in this county my whole entire life. I am now raising my family in this county. I went to Phoenix School District, I graduated, and I am now raising my family in the same school district. When I say family, I have a husband, I have a beautiful 11-year-old stepson, I also have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, all 3 boys. Pray for me, please. And I'm also an employee of the Department of Social Services. I have been with the county for 10 years. I have served as a preventive caseworker for 7, and I am now serving as a CPS supervisor for the past 3. So, as many of my fellow coworkers have said, it's hard to explain what we do on a daily basis. Because we cannot tell you, it just happens and we have to react to what happens. We've gone into dirty homes, we have dealt with the mental health population, we have dealt with people with substance abuse issues. And we don't know if we're walking into a home where someone is actively using is currently high at the moment. We don't know if we're going to have to take children on the spot. And that's probably one of the most heartbreaking things you will ever have to do in your life, is to take children out of a home right when you walk in and knowing that someone is not capable of taking care of them. So while we do all these wild and crazy things for families, because we do them because we love our job. We love our job and we want to continue doing it. The problem is we can't always take care of our own families for working for DSS in the county. You know, 5 people. I have 5 people in my family that I had to care for. And the fact that I have to go paycheck to paycheck to try and make sure that I have enough money to take care of them is not okay. There's some, usually have around $75 to $100 left over every paycheck to take care of whatever else I need. That's just taking care of bills. You know, what if we need extra groceries? I have 3 boys, they eat so much. So what I'm asking is, I hope you guys are listening to all of us. We're not being unreasonable, we're just trying to tell you that it's hard to make a living. I've even gone on to take on being a pampered chef consultant to make extra money, which is even more time. Like, I don't know if you guys know all the planning that goes into that, but it's hours and hours of planning and doing parties, just trying to get enough money to make ends meet. My husband works construction, it's almost winter time, he's not gonna be working during the winter. So that's going to be unemployment. But I do have to say that Mr. Trudell, we met 3.5 years ago. You came out on the road with me. And I want to tell you thank you. I appreciated that, and I think we had a great and wonderful conversation that whole entire day.
We did.
And I appreciate you taking your time to come out and see what we do, because it's not easy, and we're trying to take care of everybody in this community. So, thank you.
Is there anyone else? All right, well, this concludes today's meeting. I thank you all for coming. I'd like to see you here in December.